and I work the night shift at a mid-sized hotel just outside a quiet town. It's the kind of place travelers stop at when they're passing through, tucked away along the highway, quiet enough that by midnight the parking lot is mostly empty, except for the occasional car left by late arrivals. I like the work. It's predictable, mostly calm, and the pay is decent. Most nights I'm alone behind the front desk, checking people in, answering the phone, keeping an eye on the lobby and the security monitors. Usually it's uneventful, but some nights just feel different. This particular night started like any other. I clocked in around 11 p.m., poured myself a cup of coffee, and went through the routine. The lobby smelled faintly of cleaning solution and old carpet. The fluorescent lights flickered just enough to cast uneven shadows on the walls. The air conditioning hummed steadily in the background, occasionally letting out a low groan. The elevators creaked softly, as if they were tired from the day's work. Around 1:30 a.m., I noticed a car pull into the lot. A black sedan, sleek, polished, out of place, far nicer than the usual travelers who stay here. A man stepped out, early 40s, dressed sharply in a dark suit. There was something about the way he carried himself, deliberate, calm, controlled. His shoes clicked lightly against the concrete as he walked toward the entrance. When he reached the desk, I gave him a polite smile. "Good evening, sir. Checking in?" He nodded slowly. "Yes, I'll be staying a few nights." There was something about his voice, smooth, calm, almost too perfect. He filled out the registration form carefully, taking his time. Then he started asking questions. Not about the room, not about the price, but about the hotel itself, the hallways, the exits, the security cameras. At first, I thought maybe he was just curious, but the way he looked at me when he asked, like he was waiting for something more than an answer, it made me uneasy. Still, I answered politely, that's part of the job. Eventually, he nodded, took his key, and walked toward the elevators. I watched him go, longer than I probably should have. Then I shook it off and went back to work. At first, everything was normal again. But then, I started noticing things. Small things. The elevator dinged, even though no one had called it. A chair in the lobby, slightly out of place. I was sure I had pushed it in earlier. The phone rang once. I picked it up. Silence. No breathing, no static. Just nothing. I hung up slowly. That's when I heard it. A soft thump coming from the second floor. I looked up instinctively. That floor was almost empty, maybe 1 or 2 rooms occupied. I told myself it was nothing. Old building, noises happen. But even as I went back to my desk, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone anymore. Around 2:45 a.m., the front door opened again. This time, it was a woman, mid-30s, dressed casually, but something about it felt intentional, like she was trying to look normal and trying just a little too hard. She smiled at me. It was friendly, but not natural. "Hi," she said. I nodded back. "Good evening." She didn't come to the desk right away. Instead, she wandered, slowly, looking around the lobby like she was taking everything in. Then she came up to me, started asking questions, how long I worked here, if nights were busy, if I worked alone. Simple questions, normal questions, but something about the way she asked them didn't feel normal at all. It felt calculated, like she already knew the answers and just wanted to hear me say them. And then she glanced toward the elevators, toward the man in the suit, just for a second. But it was enough, because in that moment, I realized something. They weren't strangers. I tried to ignore it. told myself I was overthinking, but once that thought got into my head, that they knew each other, everything started to feel different. The woman stayed at the desk for a few minutes longer, making small talk, but I wasn't really listening anymore. I was watching her. The way she smiled, the way her eyes didn't match it. And every few seconds, she'd glance past me, not at anything specific, just checking, like she was waiting for something. Eventually, she stepped back. "Think I'll take a look around," she said casually. I nodded. Of course. She walked toward the hallway, but instead of heading to the elevators, she took the stairs. That stuck with me. Most guests don't use the stairs unless they have to, especially not at nearly 3 in the morning. I waited a few seconds, then turned slowly toward the security monitors. We had a small setup behind the desk, 4 cameras. Lobby, hallway, parking lot, second floor corridor. At first, everything looked normal. The lobby, empty. The parking lot, quiet. But when I looked at the second floor camera, I felt my stomach drop. The woman was there, standing in the hallway, not moving, just standing. And then she turned her head slowly and looked directly into the camera. I froze. Something about the way she did it. It didn't feel like coincidence. It felt like she knew exactly where it was. Before I could process it, the screen flickered just for a second. And when it came back, she was gone. I leaned closer to the monitor, checked the hallway again. Empty. No doors opening, no footsteps, nothing. Okay, I muttered under my breath. Just a glitch. But my voice didn't sound convincing, even to me. I switched to the parking lot camera, and that's when I noticed it. A van, parked across the street, engine off, lights off, just sitting there. I hadn't seen it pull in. I stared at it for a few seconds, trying to make sense of it. Maybe it had been there the whole time. Maybe I just didn't notice. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. Then the front desk phone rang. I jumped slightly before picking it up. Front desk? Silence. I waited, listened. For a second, I thought I heard breathing, very faint, slow. Then, click. The line went dead. I slowly lowered the phone. My hand felt tighter around it than I realized. That's when I heard it again. Footsteps. But this time, they weren't upstairs. They were in the hallway behind me. I turned, slowly, and there he was, the man in the suit, standing at the end of the hallway. He wasn't supposed to be there. That hallway led to staff-only areas. He just stood there, looking at me, not smiling, not speaking, just watching. A few seconds passed, felt like minutes. Then he spoke, calm, quiet, controlled. "You're working alone tonight?" My chest tightened. I forced a small smile. "Just for now." He held my gaze for a moment longer, then nodded and turned, walking back down the hallway like nothing had happened. I didn't move, didn't breathe properly, because now I was sure of it. Something was wrong, and whatever it wasn't just them.
I didn't move for a few seconds after he left. I just stood there, staring at the empty hallway, trying to convince myself I hadn't just imagined that. But I knew I hadn't. He wasn't supposed to be there. That hallway was for staff only. No guest had any reason to even walk down it. I swallowed hard, then turned back to the monitors. My eyes went straight to the second-floor camera again. At first, nothing. Empty hallway, closed doors, stillness. Then, movement. A door slowly opened. Room 214. I leaned closer to the screen. The woman stepped out, but she wasn't alone this time. There was someone behind her. A third person. Tall, wearing a dark hoodie, face completely obscured. My chest tightened instantly. We didn't have that many guests checked in. I knew that for a fact, and I definitely hadn't seen that person come in. The three of them stood in the hallway for a moment, not talking, not moving much. Then, almost at the same time, they all turned their heads toward the camera. I felt a chill run down my spine. There was no way that was coincidence. They just stood there, looking directly into the lens, like they knew I was watching. Then the screen flickered again. This time, longer. A distorted blur. Static crawling across the image. When it cleared, they were gone. I stepped back from the monitor. My heart was beating faster now. Louder. This isn't right, I whispered to myself. I quickly checked the other cameras. Lobby? Empty. Parking lot. The van was still there. But now, the side door was open. I froze. I hadn't seen anyone get out. I stared at the screen, trying to make out anything in the darkness inside the van. Nothing. Just black. Then suddenly, the lobby doors rattled. I snapped my head up. Someone was pulling on them. Hard. I rushed out from behind the desk just enough to see the woman standing outside. Her smile was gone now. She looked different. Cold. Focused. She didn't knock. Didn't speak. She just pulled on the door once more, then stopped. And slowly, she stepped back into the darkness. My breathing had gotten shallow, uneven. I backed up toward the desk again, grabbing the phone. I thought about calling my manager, calling the police, doing something. But before I could dial, I heard it. A loud, metallic bang from the back of the building, the service entrance. Someone was there. My entire body tensed, because now it clicked. The woman at the front was a distraction.
For a second, I couldn't move. My brain was trying to catch up to what was happening. Front door, distraction. Back door, entry point. They were working together. Another loud bang echoed from the back. Metal against metal. Someone was trying to force the service door open. That snapped me out of it. I rushed behind the desk, grabbing the master key and my phone at the same time. My hands were already shaking. I dialed my manager first. No answer. Of course. I hung up immediately and dialed emergency services. The phone rang once, twice. Another bang, louder this time. I flinched. They're going to get in, I muttered under my breath. The call connected. I tried to keep my voice steady. There are people trying to break into the hotel. I'm alone. As I spoke, I kept glancing toward the lobby doors. Empty, but I knew she was still out there, somewhere, watching. Then, the lights flickered. Once, twice. My heart dropped. The monitors glitched again, static crawling across all 4 screens. For a moment, everything went dark. Then, the system came back online, and what I saw made my stomach drop. All 4 cameras were showing the same thing. The lobby, from different angles, and in every single one, there were people standing just outside the doors. Not just the woman, more. At least 3, maybe 4 figures, standing completely still, watching. My breathing got heavier. This wasn't random. This was planned. Then, suddenly, the banging at the back door stopped. Just stopped. The silence that followed was worse, because now I didn't know where they were. I slowly stepped out from behind the desk. Every movement felt too loud. I listened carefully. Nothing. No footsteps, no voices, just the low hum of the building. Then, a soft sound behind me. The hallway. I turned slowly, and my heart nearly stopped. The man in the suit was standing there again, closer this time, much closer. I hadn't heard him come in. That shouldn't have been possible. The doors were locked, but there he was, calm, composed, like nothing was wrong. "You shouldn't be here alone," he said quietly. My grip tightened around the phone. "How did you get in?" I asked, my voice barely steady. He didn't answer. He just looked at me like he already knew something I didn't. Then, headlights flooded through the front windows. A car pulled into the lot, fast. The man's expression changed, just slightly. For the first time, he looked annoyed. He turned his head toward the doors, and then, without another word, he walked away, straight down the hallway. Gone. I stood there frozen, trying to process what had just happened. Then, I heard a car door slam outside. I rushed toward the front. It was my manager. He was already running toward the entrance, pulling out his keys. By the time he got inside, the parking lot was empty. No van, no figures, nothing, like they had never been there at all. By the time my manager got inside, I was still standing there, frozen. He looked at me, confused at first. "Alex, what happened?" I tried to answer, but the words didn't come out right. It was them. They were here, outside, and the back door. I stopped, because even as I said it, it sounded unreal. He didn't say anything at first, just walked past me and checked the doors. Front, locked. Back, still secured. No damage. "That doesn't make sense," he said, but I knew what I heard. We went straight to the security room. I needed him to see it, to confirm I wasn't losing it. He pulled up the footage, rewound it. We watched in silence. The lobby camera showed me standing behind the desk, talking on the phone. But there was nothing outside. No van, no people. I leaned closer. "No, go back. A little more." He scrubbed through the footage again. Still nothing. My stomach dropped. "That's not possible," I whispered. "Maybe you were just stressed," he said. "Night shifts can mess with your head." I didn't respond because I knew what I saw. Then I pointed at the screen. "Check the second floor." He switched cameras. The hallway appeared. Empty. For a moment, I felt that same doubt creeping in. Maybe he was right. Maybe it was just in my head. Then, a door opened. Room 214. Both of us froze. The woman stepped out, followed by the man in the suit, and behind them, that third figure, the one I hadn't seen before. They stood in the hallway for a second. Then slowly,
All three of them turned toward the camera. My manager leaned in. "Who are they?" I didn't answer, because I already knew what came next. The screen flickered, static, and then they were gone. My manager sat back in his chair, silent. For the first time, he looked unsettled. "We'll call the police," he said. They came, took statements, checked the building. Nothing. No forced entry. No signs of anyone breaking in. And the van? No cameras picked it up. Not entering, not leaving. Like it had never been there. It's been a few weeks since that night. I still work there, but not alone anymore. My manager makes sure of that. Even so, I still check the monitors more than I used to. I still listen for sounds that shouldn't be there. And sometimes, late at night, when the lobby is quiet, I'll glance at the second-floor camera, just for a second. And every now and then, I swear, I see a door slightly open and someone standing just inside the room. Not moving, just watching.